Welcome to Team O'Neill. I'm Chris.
I'm Jared.
And we're here today to talk about brakes and also really here to talk today about the choices that we have to make when we build a race car and be part of a race team. We have a really awesome brake setup on my Fiesta here that is what M Sport used, and we're actually making a change, right, Jared?
Yeah, kind of a weird change that some people are going to question for sure, because the brake setup that's currently on the car could be considered a little bit better. It's definitely a better caliper, a better quality caliper. But that's what we always used to use. When we were running our R2s, that caliper bracket, everything was designed to be used with an R2. And that was also being set up with a 5-lug, an actual, you can buy it off the shelf AP Racing rotor, whereas that's no longer an option since we're using a 4-bolt system. We're using the stock ST hubs on this car. So the rotor we're using is actually from an older Focus SVT, and we have to have the outside machined down and cut down, which it's ruining the performance of what's already a stock rotor. So we're just drastically taking away the performance, plus it's also difficult and time consuming to have to do that every time we want to put new rotors on the car. So we're going to streamline it and go with something that's a little bit more kind of order it out of a magazine.
Part of our goals is to try to make things replaceable and stuff we can service. When we were doing M Sport, we were getting orders from M Sport all the time, and we're able to have parts kind of coming in. M Sport stopped servicing this car 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So over time, we've had to find ways to find replaceable parts from the US that would fit. And it's something that, balancing how much of a car can we remain stock and get the performance we need versus also, too, what does the crew that we're working with have in the trailer? What do we need our own spares package, and what do we need to bring to a rally? So, it's interesting when you think about racing, all the decisions that you have to make. Obviously, you want the best you can get out of your car, the best you can get for parts and pieces and components, but you also have the reality of what's available to service, how big is a spares package, what's your truck and trailer, how much room do you have?
Right.
And so now you got all these decisions that you start to weigh. What's the performance, what's the reality of us working on a car? So kind of one of the reasons we went to this setup specifically is TRF, the crew that's working on my car, this is the same kit that they have on their other Fiestas that they manage, correct?
Right, yeah, so this is what Ryan designed and started putting on all of his cars that he's running. And then you're going to end up with a thing of we've run what we've run forever for our reasons. He developed his own reasons for running that stuff. So now we're going to have to try and mesh those together. And it's not just the actual components, it's also going to be maybe we're going to have to change the lines to fit what they have, or something that's, again, easily available to get. And then also the hardware. Maybe I'm going to have to add a couple different tools to my toolbox. I wouldn't want to change the hardware on what he uses, because then it's going to be harder for them to work on it. So I might have to add a couple tools to my toolbox, or even change some of the other hardware on the car so that I don't have 10 different size sockets every time I'm going in there and trying to work on something.
It's interesting when you think about racing. A lot of people really think about just the driving component, and I want to be the best driver I can. And the reality is there's so much more going into racing. And so it's just it's constantly all these little decisions that you have to make, right? What do I have available? What does my team have available? What are my mechanics capable of doing? And then in rally specifically, the service times are so short, having everything, the fewest number of tools, fewest different kind of bolts, that makes everything easier and more cohesive. If Jared can't come to a rally and I have another mechanic from TRF working on my car, it's awesome to have the same brake setup that they're already used to working on, right?
Right, it's something they're familiar with, plus they're also going to have a lot of these parts on the truck, so our spare package that we keep here on site can be significantly smaller. We maybe just have an extra 1 or 2 lines and a few extra rotors, maybe an extra caliper, because these can actually be swapped and used on both sides of the car. So lots of cool things about that, and it definitely cuts down the cost of you don't need as many spares, and it's just a lot easier to find a lot of these things.
It's a tough call as a business guy, right? Like, I hate spending money on something that, it's not broken, don't fix it. Right. We went against that rule on this one a little bit.
Long term too, it's actually going to be cheaper, even though you are spending the money up front now. Moving to a 2-piece rotor, we're actually getting a lighter rotor out of this, and the rotor is now going to be a better quality rotor than what's on the car. So even though the caliper is a little bit smaller, the rotor's better, and since it's a 2-piece rotor, Every time we're replacing that when it wears out, we don't have to change that top hat. It's just a nice aluminum top hat. We only buy this part here of the rotor. You can get it out of a catalog, and that's going to be cheaper than buying that stock rotor from the Focus and having it cut down every time. So long-term picture, it is going to pay for itself. Performance of the vehicle, yeah, this is going to take a little bit away from the front, but actually because of the rest of the braking system on the vehicle already had some more front bias, this is actually going to take a little bit of that away, and it might help with the balance.
Nice. Awesome. So, ultimately it was one of those things that's such a little variable of the whole big picture of a race car and a race team, but we're just trying to make it work for the situation that we have right now, and ultimately working well with the team. That's probably one of the biggest reasons we made this move. Two, for Team O'Neill specifically, we're also interested in this brake kit as well for potentially our rally school cars. It's something that we've been working on. It's our Fiesta fleet, and we needed to make a change. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Race cars, they're not like a dealership car, right? You're not just pulling the car in and changing an alternator and sending it on its way. It's like they're never done. You're constantly building them, constantly trying to improve. And yeah, some of our cars here, we definitely need to update a little bit on it to make the braking system a little bit better. To fit some of the driver's needs, and this might be the right direction. So putting this on the front of this car and seeing how it goes might be a good example of what we want to start doing on some of our class cars here as well.
So you use racing for R&Ding a business. OEMs have been doing this for years. Team O'Neill's, this is a very small example of the same concept. And the car's already up on the stands and the wheels are off, so yeah, we'll see how long it takes.
Perfect time to do it.
All right, let's join Jared as he gets on these brakes.
For the sake of leaking brake fluid, since I am changing the caliper, I'm going to leave the line hooked up, and I'm just going to move this caliper up and out of the way for now without actually taking the line off. And I'll do that last after I get everything else fitted. Throw some zip ties in a good spot there. Throw a zip tie up around here. Now my caliper's out of the way. My line's not going to leak. And I've got plenty of room to get the rest of my brake components off. So I'll take off the old radial caliper mount bracket. Keep that all out of the way. So now I have that all exposed here. I can look at this. I've already mocked everything up. I've already put everything together, and I've safety wired all of my bolts, all of my hardware together on here. Everything's torqued, everything's Loctited. So before I slap that on, I can take my new bracket with my new hardware, put a little copper slip on it. Little copper slip higher up. And a little Loctite down on the threads. We'll set this up here the way it goes. And we'll put our new bracket on. Perfect. Now I can set my rotor in place, make sure everything's nice and clean. All I can mount my caliper. I've already put all my fittings on. When you buy these calipers, it actually comes with 4 bleeders, and you can take the 2 bottom bleeders off and just put in these little plugs. That way you're not worrying about risking a bleeder or having a bleeder fail being down low. Obviously putting the bleeders on top to allow the air to escape. Before I put that on, a little copper slip on those shafts and on the threads. Everything we do on these cars is getting frequently touched, and we want things to be able to come apart fast. We're not putting it on there for 100,000 miles and leaving it, so we want everything to be nice and smooth. So I'll do a quick mock-up here. So now I can pull this pad holder off. Slide my new pads in. There we go. And then just snug that up. Keeps those pads from coming out. The last thing I would need to do is swap my actual line. I'm going to put it on this side of the caliper first, that way it's not fluid running through it while I'm trying to hook it up down here. I'll put that on, and I'm not going to get crazy tight with it yet. I just want to snug it up so it is going to seal, and then that way after I go back and I can run my routing and decide where I want to put this line, where I want to zip tie it to keep it up tight, and then I'll snug that down when I'm ready for that. All right, take my tools. I'm going to kind of hold this line about where I want to mount it so I can make sure that this is in a good spot here, because every time I turn this, it's going to rotate it, which might start twisting down here. So I'm going to hold that in place, get my last little snug, make sure that's tight. Make sure it's tight at the bottom, make sure I'm in a spot where it's not going to be going out towards the wheel or back towards the axle or anything like that. The safest place is running kind of straight up. Loop my zip tie in there. Find a good place for my line where I want to keep it, where it's not going to hit the tire, hit the wheel, get too much gravel spray. And it's not too tight, so as my suspension compresses or decompresses, it's not going to try pulling it. Flush cuts, always use flush cuts on your zip ties. No one likes reaching in there and cutting that. Grab a hold of the old one. Cut that out of the way. I can slap a wheel on and we can go start bedding the brakes in.
All right, Jared, thanks for doing that for us. What's next after this?
I mean, short term, I need to bleed the brakes. We can put the wheels back on and we can take it out and we can go bed the brakes in on the car.
Okay.
Yeah, what's next as far as performance upgrades in the vehicle? Since we just changed the front calipers, it's going to change the way the brake feels, maybe the way the brake performs on the vehicle. Really, the ultimate thing for adjustment on that on race cars is a full-on pedal box with 2 separate master cylinders for the front and for the rear with a balance bar, so you can ultimately adjust your bias in all different conditions, right? Because you don't want the same braking setup for the winter or ice as you would if you're on dry gravel. Right. So I would say the next thing you'd want to do is put a balance bar in, a full-on pedal box, just to give us that control. Okay. And then if you wanted to go another step further from there, upgrading the rear brakes as well, and you'd be like, real solid brake system.
Perfect. Well, we'll do it over time and as it makes sense in the budget and everything else, but that'll at least get us one step closer here, and really appreciate you showing us that, and look forward to getting you on camera for the next thing that we do. So thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments for Jared or myself or about the race car, please let us know, and we look forward to catching you next time. Thanks.